These are 5 of the biggest Roblox games ever made, but players say they're dying, so I joined them to find out if that's true, and what I found wasn't as simple as it looked. Up first, The Forge, which lost over 99% of their players. A few months ago, this game had over 1 million players, and now it averages around 5,000 players. At launch, The Forge was one of the fastest growing Roblox games ever, and now it's not even in the top 100. However, the numbers don't tell the full story, so to find out what went wrong and if it's over for this game, let's ask the players. Do you think the game is dying?
Kind of.
Yes.
I feel like it is dying.
It kinda is. It kinda is.
Most players agree the game was dying, but not everyone thought it was over. Do you think the game is dying?
Oh, no. I think it's growing.
To be honest, not really.
Not really. I still see a lot of players around.
No.
And when I asked what actually went wrong, most players blame the same issues, but not everyone agreed. Why?
Like, there's so much to do as they add more and more. I feel like more people are coming in.
I think the developers aren't putting in enough updates.
So around 1 million people played this. It went from that in a span of a year to 5k.
Once again, the community is split, so to understand what happened, I looked deeper. The Forge launched on November 25th, 2025. It immediately went viral, getting over 20,000 players on their second day of release. Then, just a few weeks later, it had over 1 million players at once. So what went wrong? Well, the biggest issue was simple. The game got repetitive. Players burned through the content quickly, and the updates weren't enough to keep the momentum alive. And it wasn't just the players noticing this. Even the developers admitted the game had become extremely difficult to maintain, saying the small team was constantly rushing updates and getting burned out. So the Forge isn't completely dead, but it's pretty clear this game lost most of its hype. And sadly, many players think there's no coming back. Do you think this game's gonna make a comeback?
Absolutely not. No.
No, like no chance at all?
Nope.
And do you think the game is gonna make like a comeback, or do you think it's over?
To be honest, no.
Players have lost all hope. Our next game though is one of the most iconic games on Roblox. Beat this Tower of Hell, which has over 27.5 billion visits, but only 12,000 active players, compared to the over 100,000 they used to get. What happened? Let's join and question the players. Do you think this game is dying? Alright. After this, I ran to this player who told me the truth. How long have you been playing this game?
Like 10 years.
Has the game even been out for that long? It hasn't, but anyways. So do you think the game is dying?
Yeah, kinda.
How come?
I don't see people playing it as much.
Do you think people are just getting bored? Like, what do you think happened?
I just think like the game is just kind of repeating itself. Like the levels are the same. They didn't really change it up.
This player made a good point. The game does have different maps and elements, but the concept never really changed. It's always been going up this tower trying to reach the top. I then ran into another player expecting the same answers, but they surprised me. How long have you been playing this game?
5 years.
A lot of people saying it's dying. Do you think it's dying?
In my opinion, I don't think it's dying. I think there's enough players for it to thrive, but obviously it's not really popular, which is reasonable because this game is kind of like rage bait.
Well, so you think that's why people stop playing?
Yeah.
So while some players think the game is falling off, not everyone agreed. Let's investigate to find the true answer. Tower of Hell was launched back in 2018. It was slowly rising every year, but in 2020 the game exploded, constantly averaging over 100,000 players. However, from this point on, the game just kept losing players, and now struggles to get over 15,000 players. What went wrong? Well, what the player said was true. This game is extremely repetitive, and the developers don't update it much. So without any new content, players just got bored and quit. So overall, Tower of Hell is dying, and despite both players being split, they both agreed on one thing. Do you think this game will ever make a comeback?
Yeah, I don't think there's gonna be a comeback. I'm not gonna lie.
No? You think it's just gonna like keep falling off?
Yeah.
But no, I don't think it would ever grow. I think it would just stay the same.
And with the game constantly losing players every week, sadly the players are probably right. But the next game is one of the biggest Roblox games ever made. 99 Nights in the Forest has over 25.1 billion visits, and it was the #1 game on Roblox for a long time. But now it's lost its place and has been constantly losing players, having a 70% drop in average players. Is this game fully dying though? Let's ask the players and find out. I first ran into this player who gave me his thoughts on the state of the game. How long have you been playing this game?
5 months?
Do you think this game is dying?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah? How come?
I don't know, I feel like they're trying to add too much.
Do you think the game is getting worse or do you still like it?
Oh, I still like it. It's a good difference from all the competitive games I play.
So players still enjoy the game but recognize it's dying. But this is where things get interesting, because every player I spoke to said the exact same thing. Do you think the game is dying?
Yeah. Slowly.
A little bit. I mean, yeah, it's dying.
A little bit.
99 Nights in the Forest launched less than a year ago and immediately blew up on launch. A few months after launch, this game was constantly averaging 1 to 2 million active players constantly, and it would get over 10 million players per update. But now they average 200 to 300,000 players and get around 2.5 million players for their updates. Even with consistent updates, players have lost a lot of interest in this game, and they're failing at maintaining the hype. Do you know like what happened?
I think it just like got old.
The players is actually going to still run on.
I feel like everyone wants the next thing.
Once again, many players were complaining about the repetitive nature, feeling like the game is just the same thing over and over again, causing it to get old and players moving on to other games. However, it might not fully be over. 99 Nights is dying for now, and despite everyone agreeing it's dying, players are split on whether or not it will come back. Do you think this game will make a comeback, or do you think it's over?
I think it's a possibility. I don't know. No.
Overall, the game is rapidly losing players, and if they don't fix it, it's only going to keep getting worse. But not every game I joined is clearly dying. Blox Fruits is the third most visited Roblox game ever, with over 59.8 billion visits. Recently, many people have been saying the game is dying though, as it went from constantly averaging around 400,000 players and being the #1 game on Roblox, to now getting around 250,000 players. Is it really dying though? Let's join and see what the players have to say. This game also doesn't have voice chat, so I had to do it the old-fashioned way.
How long have you been playing this game? About 2 to 3 years or 4 at max. Wow. So do you think this game is dying? No. Why not? It's holding a good average of players. I see, many people say it's dropping though. It's because they think a game is dying because it's not talked about enough. Ah, I see. So you think this game is far from over? Yes.
This player doesn't think the game is dying at all. The next player I spoke to said otherwise.
Do you think this game is dying?
A little,
How come?
because brain rot.
So once again, players are divided, but then I met this player Zen, who had a completely different perspective.
How long have you been playing this game?
I just got back on It's Hard to Grind with my fruit and I've been on the same island for a year.
Do you think this game is dying?
No, not really.
Why not?
I think it's doing better than before.
How?
Well, last year's Before Blox Fruits updates weren't consistent and good, but they have been remaking a lot of things and reworking fruits, so they are increasing game quality.
So unlike a lot of games that don't update or just have bad updates, this player is saying the opposite, saying that the game is actually improving over time. However, this doesn't explain why the player count is dropping, so I asked them.
People say the game's losing players though.
Not true. The numbers may say that, but that's because of the updates. When they drop, new players come. But a lot of new players don't like the grind, so they quit. It's not dying or losing players.
So you're saying true fans never quit, just casuals?
Yes.
Do you think this game will grow or has it peaked?
Blox Fruits is at its peak right now. It will go beyond.
And looking at the numbers, this player might actually be right. The game has lost some players, but overall it's still doing well, and hasn't had a huge drop like some of the other games in this video. Just a month ago for the Valentine's update, this game got over 1.1 million players, and players seem to love the update, so the game is doing well and the community is thriving, just like the player said. So while Blox Fruits has lost some players, it's still one of the biggest games on Roblox. Speaking of which, our next game used to be Roblox's biggest game. Because we're talking about Pet Simulator 99, which has over 2.3 billion visits, and it went from averaging 100 to 200,000 players to now getting around 50,000, but was even going below 10,000 players a few months ago. Pet Simulator games used to dominate Roblox, it was everywhere, and now you don't really hear about them. But this game didn't just lose players, the owner and creator even left the company. But is it really over for this game? Let's join and find out. I first ran into this player, Amron, who told me the truth about this game. How long have you been playing this game?
I kind of started it when it just came out, but after the Backrooms update, I quit.
Oh, so you quit and now you're back.
Yeah,
Do you think this game is dying?
it is.
What went wrong?
And everything has went upside down after these updates. They came out too fast and too sloppy.
Based on what the player said, the updates are what let this game down. Another player I spoke to confirmed this. Do you think the game is dying?
Yes.
What went wrong?
I don't know. It's just not what people like anymore.
Are the updates not good enough?
Yeah, I guess.
And it's not just these players. A ton of other players said they quit because the updates weren't good enough. On top of this, the game became extremely pay to win. So instead of new updates bringing in more players, it just kept pushing more people away. Despite all this, the players still have hopes for a comeback. So do you think this game will make a comeback, or do you think it's over?
It might, I don't know. I have high hopes.
Oh, you want it to come back?
I want people to witness like a good update for once.
Do you think the game still has a future?
I mean, if the developer puts a lot of time and effort into it, yeah, absolutely.
And to be fair, they're not wrong. And this game started updating again recently, and it's seen an increase in players. So while the game clearly was dying, it might actually be starting to make a comeback, but it's been dying for a long time, so they have a lot of work to do. Overall, some of these games have lost almost all their players, others are still holding strong, and some might even make a comeback. But at the end of the day, every game eventually fades, and what actually matters are the memories people made playing these games. That's more important than the player count number. Please subscribe and like if you enjoyed. Click on the playlist here to watch me explore more games, and I'll see you in the next one.